What a shame it would be I would die if number 10 Downing Street burned in a fire. I really don't think that number 10 burning down would have any impact on anything. In fact, I think they would find a way to award the contract to rebuild number 10 to more of their government friends and then raise our taxes to pay for it. Hi and welcome to a very chilly south coast of England. Stuart here with another reaction from the perspective of a psychotherapist. Please remember these are just my initial impressions from a first look through of the video. So these are unique to me and the position I am in terms of my learning history, in terms of things like my education, in terms of my culture, and quite often just the mood I am in for the day. Okay, so before we get into this, here's a quick word from today's sponsor. Hi, I'm Stuart and I'm today's sponsor. I run another YouTube video called Therapy in Action. It's very new, it's growing. There's videos on there about managing mental health. There's information and education about mental health and therapy and accessing therapy and things that we do in therapy. So please check that out if that is something that interests you. I am trying to grow that channel. I don't have any control over ads and things at the moment, and I would love to be able to have more control over them. You know, get rid of some of the ones that are in the middle that interrupt the flow of the video. But until I get a certain amount of views and watch hours, I cannot do that. So please come join me on that journey on that channel and check it out if that's something you think might be helpful or might interest you, or if you know other people it might be helpful for, please share it with them. Thank you very much. So today we have Ren Money Game Part 2, which has been watched just over 10 million times on YouTube. And it's a bit of an older track, I think, from what I've listened to before. It's 3 years old, so I'm really excited to check this one out. I absolutely loved Money Game Part 1, which I have a reaction to on this channel. So if you haven't checked that one out, then please do. It was a really fun one to make. I got to unleash a little bit about our government and some of the things that are going on in the world, which I tend not to do too much on this channel because I want it to be more about mental health and therapy as opposed to politics. But sometimes those two things are very, very difficult to unpick. So they do naturally go together. Let's see if part 2 brings more of the same.
Strange time we're living in, panic and hysteria. Poor man learn, the rich man don't care for your narcissist mindset spread like malaria. Sit back and watch the show. America, Britain split through fickle shit. A government of hypocrites. These counterfeit politicians sit in parliament, not adequate. Come on, needlessly bleeding, resources all dry. Turn a blind eye if it means a pay rise. Oh, what a shame it would be, I would die if number 10 Downing Street burned in a fire. Only joking, only messing, don't be stressing. I'm a peaceful adolescent, there's no need to be unpleasant. Write my thesis in a rhyme scheme to analyze the brain while my fingers on the trigger of a money game. Oh, rain, 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 a storm it comes.
Well, I couldn't agree more so far, I don't think. There was a line there. Oh, I shouldn't move my mouse because that always messes me up. It was to do with... Where was it?
Government of hypocrites.
There we go. A government of hypocrites. These counterfeit politicians sit in Parliament. Not adequate. Not much to say there other than Ren is making it crystal clear what he thinks. And I agree. It's really cool to see this in a song so explicitly stated, you know, so blatant. An actual track that people are going to listen to and watch the video for. And it's a lyric video, so it's even more clear what he is saying. And people may relate to this. They may learn something from it. It may plant the seed to get them thinking about things. And what was it Ren said in the beginning then? Poor men learn, the rich men don't care for you. I don't think that's anything new. I think poor men have long realized that the rich men don't really care for you. They care about using you, sometimes trying to appease you, but that's not for your benefit. That's so the rich men can get even richer. And incidentally, the rich are getting even richer. And I think it was my last Ren reaction, which was to Money Game Part 1. I mentioned the whole PPE procurement system and how I felt about that. You know, that's something that I kept a close eye on because of the work that I do within healthcare. And I talked about how I felt about how the contracts for that had been awarded. And since then, since I've done that reaction, even more news has broken about this. I think it was Mone, who's part of the Conservative Party or a Conservative peer or something like that. I don't exactly know how it works and how these relationships work. But she's been in the news because of PPE contracts, receiving, I think it's tens of millions of pounds. If I understand this right, Michelle Mone, a Conservative peer, helped a PPE company secure a Conservative government contract, which was worth hundreds of millions of pounds through their special, I think it was like the VIP pathway, I think they called it, or a VIP fast lane. And then that PPE company paid her tens of millions of pounds in return. And this is in despite her not declaring any financial interest in that company. Because I'm guessing if she had declared it, then someone maybe would have put a stop to it, but who knows? And then it looks like when you read some of the news articles, and I've read various articles about this from various sources, it appears that she subsequently went on to try and cover it all up. I mean, that's not suspicious, is it? I'll have a look for this story. I'll provide links in the description for the sake of accuracy regarding what I've said, but it's just a real life example of what Ren is talking about here. At a time when the poor were getting hit hard, she was there benefiting from it, raking in literally tens of millions of pounds. And then I think Ren said something about Downing Street.
Needlessly bleeding, resources all dry. Turn a blind eye if it means a pay rise. Oh, what a shame it would be, I would die if number 10 Downing Street burned in a fire.
You know, what a shame it would be, I would die if number 10 Downing Street burned in a fire. I really don't think that number 10 burning down would have any impact on anything. In fact, I think they would find a way to award the contract to rebuild number 10 to more of their government friends and then raise our taxes to pay for it. In fact, didn't something happen wasn't there a door somewhere? A door, was it? It was something to do with the Houses of Parliament or one of the houses in there. Maybe it was Westminster Abbey. There's something around that area. I'll need to have a look. But I think there was a door that needed to be replaced, and it was going to cost something like £10 million to replace this door. Now, it's not just a normal door. I think it was quite a historical and traditional door, but £10 million, come on. When there's so much suffering going on and so many people struggling, £10 million for a door. I won't say any more on that.
Oh, what a shame it would be, I would die if number 10 Downing Street burned in a fire. Only joking, only messing, don't be stressing, I'm a peaceful adolescent. There's no need to be unpleasant. Write my thesis in a rhyme scheme to analyse the brain while my finger's on the trigger of a money game. Oh, rain, 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 a storm it comes our way. And no surprise to distorted lies, poison in the veins, but we died upon the blame. It's easier to blame. We point the mirror at ourselves. We're all part of this whole money game.
So that's the same chorus from Money Game Part 1, isn't it? It's the same tune, I'm sure. I'm not sure if it's the same lyrics, but it's such a good chorus though. And there's a part that sends a shiver down my spine, and it's when he says, "A storm comes our way." That really does make me think what could be coming next. It's already been terrible. But is this just gearing up? Is this building up to something bigger? Have to wait and see.
This old money game. This old money is a game and the ladder we climb turns a saint into a sinner with his finger in crime. I'll break it down for you motherfuckers line by line. This is business economics in a nursery rhyme. She sells seashells on a seashore, but the value of these shells will fall due to the laws of supply and demand. No one wants to buy shells because there's loads on the sand. Step 1, you must create a sense of scarcity. Shells will sell much better if the people think they're rare, you see. Bear with me, take as many shells as you can find and hide them on an island. Stockpile them high until they're rarer than a diamond. Step 2, gotta make the people think that they want it.
Right. I absolutely love what Ren is doing here, relating economics to the she sells seashells nursery rhyme or tongue twister, I guess it is. So he had step 1, which was making it so artificially that seashells are rare and really hard to get hold of, because as supply or suspected supply levels go down, then demand goes up, which obviously pushes prices up. I don't need to explain this. Everyone knows this. This is kind of basics of economics. But I guess it's understanding that sometimes, often, maybe nearly always, this is artificially manipulated in a way to increase the demand. It's the game. It's gaming the system, making things appear to us, and creating artificial kind of demand and necessity for us to buy these things. It's all games. It's all a game.
On an island, stockpile them high until they're rarer than a diamond. Step 2, gotta make the people think that they want it. Really want them, really fucking want them. Hit them like Bronson. Influencers, product placement, featured primetime entertainment. If you haven't got a show, then you're just a fucking waste, man. 3, it's Monopoly. Invest inside some property.
Okay, so step 2, make people really want the thing that you're trying to sell. The first thing that comes to my mind is that Prime drink. Was it Logan Paul and someone got together and made this drink that was, I don't know, supposed to be good for you, or was supposed to be good for energy or training? I don't know. I don't really know much about it. But then it got hammered by all of the nutritional experts and everyone. And obviously it was just one of these like fads. I'm not sure if it was a fad. I don't know if that's the right word, but just everyone wanted them. There were people paying hundreds of pounds for a bottle of a drink. There were people queuing for hours outside shops, waiting for deliveries. And it just shows the power of making people want something. And it doesn't matter if you're watching TV or TikTok or YouTube or Facebook, everything has ads in it, he says, with a YouTube channel which runs ads. And I see this desire to fit in everywhere in my life. I see it in the teenagers that I work with, having to have the latest brands and trainers, or if they don't have the latest brands of whatever, then the consequence of not having that is being teased or bullied or outcasted. And again, it comes down to this evolutionary need to fit in with a tribe and avoid being outcasted at all costs, as being outcasted would mean that you would die. And due to the explosion of social media, our tribes are just getting bigger and bigger, and we have more and more people that we want to try to impress and fit in with. And instead of practicing acceptance and compassion for ourselves, we are instead really harsh and critical and judgmental. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves, which just leads to excess stress and anxiety, and none of that is healthy at all.
If you haven't got a shell, then you're just a fucking waste, man. Free. It's Monopoly. Invest inside some property. Start a corporation, make a logo, do it properly. Shells must sell, that will be your new philosophy. Swallow all your morals, they're a poor man's quality. 4. Expand, expand, expand.
Right, so the shell selling business appears to be going so well due to how, you've manipulated the supply and demand. Everyone also now wants or needs a shell, as they don't want to be a waste man. Don't be a waste man. You now have the monopoly. You are the one place to go for shells. If someone wants a shell, they're coming to you. And this line, I think it was, these shells must sell. That's the number one priority. Don't worry about your morals, worrying about whether you are treating your staff right, paying them fairly, whether the way you are obtaining the shells is sustainable, the impact on the environment, maybe the impact on things like habitation. Worrying about all of those things will keep you a poor man. And we want profit. We want maximum profit at all costs.
Start a corporation, make a logo, do it properly. Shells must sell, that will be your new philosophy. Swallow all your morals, they're a poor man's quality. 4. Expand, expand, expand. Clear forest, make land, fresh blood on hands. 5. Why just shells? Why limit yourself? She sells seashells, sell oil as well. 6. Guns, sell stock, sell diamonds, sell rock, sell water to a fish, sell the time to a clock. 7.
Listen to just how everything, Ren's voice is changing. There's this new kind of instrument appearing. It's just, everything's just turning into chaos in the sound as this corporation or whatever is just growing. It's just gaining, selling more and more stuff, making more and more money, gaining more and more power. And he says, sell water to a fish and sell time to a clock. So it's this thing about selling things that are needed, things that are actually essential, not just wants, but needs. A fish needs water to survive. A clock needs time to be useful or serve some kind of purpose, I guess. Now, this is connecting with me things like raising electricity prices or raising energy prices or food prices, raising property and rent prices, all the things that we actually need. There's those kind of Maslow's hierarchy of needs things that are quite near the bottom. Those things, they're being, those are being targeted for maximum profit to squeeze what they can out of us. And I can tell you it's hard as a therapist when you have people come to you saying they are depressed because they literally cannot afford to feed their family or pay their rent and are facing homelessness. I think anyone would feel that way in that situation. This isn't to do with chemical imbalances in the brain. This is mostly to do with social economics. What is happening to them. It's not something that is happening in them biologically that has somehow just happened. They're not to blame for this. This is something that is happening to them, and they are responding in this way. And as a therapist, what do you do with that? I mean, you can sit in a session and talk about and acknowledge how rubbish everything is. It doesn't change it for them. And a lot of therapeutic modalities do look at people's cognitions, so the thoughts that they're having and how they view the world, etc. But sometimes, well, quite often, the world is kicking their ass, and no amount of perception change is gonna change that. It's not going to magically put food on the table for them. So the therapy becomes about problem solving. And when I work with this, there's often an avoidance from people of approaching others for help or for contacting places and services that might help, say, with things like finances or accommodation. And I work with that avoidance. That avoidance is only going to make the problem worse. And sometimes that's what we're doing early on. Not so much trying to make things better, but we're trying to stop things from getting worse. And that's not a good, I fully acknowledge that's not really an answer. That's not a good position to be in. But in that moment, for that person, when wider societal change isn't going to come anytime soon, that's what you've got. And it's hard to hold that. I mean, it's hard for them, obviously, but it can be quite hard for a therapist to hold that as well. But it's our job. That's what we do it for, to help people with these things.
Sun, sell stock, sell diamonds, sell rock, sell water to a fish, sell the time to a clock. 7. Press on the gas, take your foot off the brakes, then run to be the president of the United States. 8. Big smile, make big wave, that's great. Now the truth is overrated, tell lies out the gate. 9. Polarize the people, controversy is the game. It don't matter if they hate you, if they all say your name. 10. The world is yours, step out on.
Well, step 9. Step 9 was crazy. I love the kind of sarcasm in Ren's voice, which was, "Give us a wave, mate," or something along those lines. You can become such a good businessman and have so much power. You can become the president, or at the very least move into politics. And then when you are the president, or perhaps like over here we have a prime minister, you can do all those deals with your mates, as we have just discussed. And that cycle just continues. They get richer, their friends get richer, they get more power, they can make other people richer who are their friends, and it just seems to continue. I'm going to state here that I'm not a politics expert, as you have probably noticed. I don't really know much about this stuff in terms of actual kind of research and evidence into these areas. I'm just talking about what I see, what people say to me when I see them in sessions, kind of other conversations that I have with people. It's all based on that. I'm not a kind of an economics or a politics specialist in any way. But please just so take what I say with a pinch of salt. Fair enough. But maybe use it as a way in, as a way to just have a look, just be curious about what's going on.
If they hate you, if they all say your name. 10. The world is yours. Step out on the stage to a round of applause. You're a liar, cheat, a devil, a whore, and you sell seashells on the seashore. Rain, 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 rain. A storm, it comes our way.
So there was a step there about polarizing the people. You know, controversy is the game. Get us all fighting each other. Point the finger at other people. Use the media to divide us. If I am distracted by, say, a headline that says something about benefit fraud, I'm too busy getting angry and gossiping about Paul down the road, who I'm sure I saw playing football in the park whilst he can't work because of a back injury and he's claiming mobility allowance. If we're fighting each other, we can't turn our attention. Paul doesn't exist, by the way. Just made that up in case anyone knows where I live and there's someone called Paul. Don't want him to get in trouble. But if we are fighting each other, we can't turn our attention to the problems at the top, where they can sit and let this cycle continue and get richer and richer and richer.
Sure. Rain, 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 rain. A storm, it comes our way. And no surprise to distorted lies. Poison in the veins, but we died upon the blame, 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 blame. It's easier to blame. We point the mirror at ourselves. We're all part of this whole money game. This old money game.
Oh, and there's something chilling there about seeing those shots of Hitler, and kind of it makes you think about. I know this is called money game, but what happens if the money isn't actually that important, or it gets to a point where that person doesn't want or need any more money, and it becomes about power? How do you show power and display power and get power if it's not about the money? terrifies me, that prospect. Absolutely terrifies me. Especially when you link it in with those pictures of kind of Hitler and the Nazis. My brain is still getting over how cool that seashells analogy was. Such an amazing, well thought out, articulated piece of songwriting. And if you sit down and look at those steps he wrote, they make so much sense. It lays it all out for you. Again, Ren, I applaud you. Thank you for being explicit about what's going on out there and bringing people's attention to it. Let me know what you think of this reaction. I'm trying to make them a little bit shorter, as I do like to talk, and I appreciate that not all of it is always relevant. I'm trying to shorten my videos a bit because the average watch time on my YouTube analytics is about 6 minutes or something per video. So I think I'm probably putting people off by having these kind of 20-minute, 30-minute videos. So I'm going to try to shorten them a bit. I've said that about 3 times now, making this video even longer. But there we have it. Back with more Ren. Loved it as usual. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.